everybody. This is live television. This is Parnell from the Richmond Flying Squirrels. Welcome to the first ever edition of Parney's Pitch Around, powered by our great friends at Dominion Energy. That's right, everybody. After 31 years in the business, I finally have what I've always wanted, my own talk show. This is going to be either great or some other kind of show that rhymes with hit. But anyway, we're going to have a great time. We're going to break this down into 4 segments. This is one segment. This is Parney's monologue. This is where I charm you. This is where I tell you that I miss you. This is where I tell you that we love you, that we're looking forward to seeing you again. And the Flying Squirrels have all kinds of great things planned with or without baseball. Hopefully, Commissioner Manfred and the guys get their act together. Don't even get me started on that, because we'll be here all night if I get started on that. But hopefully they get it together. Hopefully we'll see you this summer. The field looks great. It's to my right and your left, and it looks wonderful. A little bit of rain tonight, but we're looking forward to a wonderful night here with you on the first ever Parney's Pitch Around, powered by Dominion Energy. Our first guest is going to be a great, great friend of mine. I know. I get to pick whoever I want because it's Parney's Pitch Around, okay? And our second guest will be someone who you've seen around the ballpark for all 10 plus seasons. And we're going to talk about in detail something that he went through. And then make sure, folks, that you can ask questions all night long on the YouTube chat, using the YouTube chat. Look, I'm 54 years old. I don't know what that means, but you can use the YouTube chat and ask questions to me. My main man, Anthony Opperman, is right across the production room in this beautiful facility that we've turned into a TV production room. And Anthony Opperman will make sure that he asks me the questions. That's our fourth and final segment here on Parney's Pitch Around, presented by Dominion Energy. So there's so many things going on in the world. We want you to go grab a Pepsi, grab whatever you want to grab. I don't care. My first guest, I guarantee I know what he's going to have in his hand, and it probably rhymes with veto, if you catch my drift. So we're going to take a quick little break, and we're going to be back to Parney's Pitch Around, the first ever show presented, powered by Dominion Energy.
The Richmond Flying Squirrels would like to thank Dominion Energy for presenting Parney's Pitch Around, a new bi-weekly show on the Flying Squirrels YouTube channel. Again, the Flying Squirrels would like to thank Dominion Energy for being the presenting sponsor of Parney's Pitch Around right here on the Flying Squirrels official YouTube channel.
All right, everybody, this is an amazing moment. The first ever guest on Parney's Pitch Around. And by the way, Parney's Pitch Around, as I said, powered by Dominion Energy. Our first guest segment is from our friends at Pepsi. And before I get started, let me just show you here. I'm drinking out of a Reckless Kelly mug tonight. RecklessKelly.com. They just came out with a double album. This will get me some drinks on the tour bus if you buy some of their albums next time we see them. But I digress. I am very, 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 very excited. My 31 years of minor league baseball has given all of us great friends and great relationships. And this first guest, I can honestly say, one of my best friends in the world who I met a long, long time ago, and that's going to be the first question. Please welcome the first ever guest of Parney's Pitch Around, Shane Turner. Shaner, welcome to the show, buddy. You're numero uno.
Hey, that's a great feeling. That's the first time I've been number one in a long time. So I'm very appreciative of being on the show. It's always great talking to you and catching up anyway.
Well, we miss you and I'll cheers you in my Reckless Kelly glass. I'm having some Diet Pepsi, but I will not be having Diet Pepsi as soon as the show's over. Cheers to you, Shane. We met, if you do the math, we met 20, probably no, we'll do 1999. So 30 years ago plus probably. We've talked about this before. You were a left fielder for the Rochester Red Wings, and I was a fan on a beer bus from the Northeast Tap Room in Reading, Pennsylvania, and we chanted, Turner, Turner. Do you remember that night, Shane?
I do. There's been a few times that's happened from the group from the tap room and other people coming around. It's been when I got traded from the Yankees to the Phillies, and I was reporting, as I said it at the time, Reading, Pennsylvania. I didn't realize what a life changer it was going to be for me. As far as obviously I've a lot of great friends here. I've met my wife here. I've had my family here. So yes, I definitely remember. But it's been a long ride and still going.
And that's where you're talking to us from tonight, from Reading, Pennsylvania, which is actually in my career that was somewhere I was at from 1990 to 1996. Shane, you've done it all in your career, and we're going to have you on this show to talk about a lot of things. But you were a player in the big leagues, and let's just talk about that for a second. As a player in the big leagues, before you went to the big leagues, you played college baseball for a legendary college baseball coach in Augie Garrido. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, coming out of high school, and I was in high school in L.A. County at a place called Gary High School. And then going to Orange County itself was a shock. And then not really knowing much about college baseball, to be honest. The first recruiting trip I take, I meet Augie Garrido. Wow, you talk about a person who I mean, he could sell you anything. All right. But at the same time, he was honest, and it really made the rest of my recruiting trips. In my head, I already knew where I was going to go to school. I knew I wanted to play for this man. I knew he had made this commuter school a baseball power, and it really intrigued me how that could happen without all the resources of Texas and Arizona State. And when I got there, I understood. We paid attention to every small detail. We did everything right. If we were going to lose, it was not because we made mistakes. We were going to be prepared. We were going to be detailed. And man, the last thing, we were going to compete no matter what. If we were getting beat 20-0, we competed till that last out. And if you didn't, you paid for it and were held accountable for it the next day in practice.
Well, you and I have spent many hours over the last, I don't know, however many years post-game in Parney's Pub, and I've heard a lot of those stories. As you went on to leave college throughout your minor league and major league career, were there some of the things that you picked up from Augie that helped you out as you went on as a player?
No doubt. I think the biggest takeaway, and my first professional manager was Buck Showalter. He had just started managing, so I reported to Oneonta to New York, and about a week had passed by. And
you were
he called
Yankees,
me
right, Shane? Yankees.
Yes, Yankees. Yes, New York Yankees. So he asked me. He said, "I got to ask you something." He goes, "How are you always in the right place at the right time? How do you make the right decisions on the bases?" And I just looked at him. I said, "Buck, I don't know if you've heard of Augie Garrido at all. He was my coach at Cal State Florida." He goes, "I know the name." I said, "Well, I'm going to tell you what, he is by far the most detailed person that I've ever known. And with Augie, we won because we played the game better than the other team. Not because we were physically better than the other team, but we did not make mistakes. In '84, when we won the championship, I mean, we beat ASU, we beat Texas, we beat Oklahoma State, we beat University of Miami, we beat national powers. And they physically may have been better than us, but we played together. We had chemistry. We played together and played the game the right way. I can tell you a funny story real quick. Just with the semifinal game, we're playing Oklahoma State. We have this 2.5-hour rain delay.
Oh,
Oklahoma
Shane, please
State,
don't say that.
lacrosse.
You know those words drive me crazy, Shane. Even though we're not playing baseball right now, you say rain delay, I break out in hives for crying out loud.
Exactly.
So 2.5 hour rain delay.
They're sitting shoulder to shoulder, staring out at the field. We were playing wiffle ball in the locker room. Some of us were umpires, some of us were players, some of us were fans. I mean, we were having a blast for 2.5 hours, and then we went out and beat them 13-2. And I only bring that up because I know that a lot of people, they can't put a number on chemistry. They can't put a number on, but what that chemistry did for us was, like, we were there for each other all the time. We believed in each other. We picked each other up. We wouldn't. And sometimes that meant yelling at you because your head wasn't in the game. Other times it meant putting your arm around you because, maybe something was going on off the field and you needed help. So from just being prepared, and the fundamental side of the game would always give you a chance to win, pitching, defense, and playing the game the right way was Augie's message every day. And then not leaving anything to chance. You have confidence because you're prepared.
And let me remind our viewers that you can ask questions for me later on in the show if it's about Shane or about our next guest, who I haven't mentioned, but I've given you a hint, or anything else about the Flying Squirrels or the state of baseball right now. You can send that to the YouTube chat, and Anthony Opperman is going to get that to us in segment 4. Shane, I never got the phone call. All of my colleagues with the Squirrels have never gotten the phone call. You got the phone call that said you are now a big league player. Who made the call? Who was it for? And how did it feel? And by the way, that is a huge spider on your shirt, just so you know. I want to make sure you know you have a huge spider on your shirt. Okay, go ahead.
I was in Glens Falls, New York. Bill Dancy was my manager, and there's two funny side notes to this. So Bill Dancy had a rule: if you got thrown out of the game, you didn't play the next day. Well, the night before, I had been ejected from the game,
and rightfully so, I'm sure. Rightfully so.
Yeah, rightfully so. I should have been.
No. I mean, you were right, and the umpire was wrong.
No, well, the umpire was wrong about the call. I was wrong the way I reacted to it.
Okay, all right, continue.
I could have got my point across probably a lot quieter and a lot nicer.
I've never seen you angry before. That's such a shock.
So I took a cab to go to the park early because I was gonna convince him to let me play.
And for you young viewers, a cab was something people used to use before Uber. Go.
And the other part of that story before I get to Bill is I had called my wife Beth, and I had told her that I'd been called up to the big leagues, and she was all excited, and I said, "No, I'm just kidding. I got thrown out of the game." So she was really upset. So now I'm heading to the ballpark, and I get there, and Bill goes, "What are you doing here, sir?" I said, "Bill, I don't care what, you can have my next paycheck. Please don't make me sit." He goes, "Oh, you're not playing here today." I go, "Bill, I'll do anything. I swear I'll do anything." He goes, "No, there's no money in the world is going to give you the opportunity to play in this game tonight." I'm like, "Bill, what do I got to do?" He goes, "You got to catch a plane and fly to San Francisco. The big club just called you up." I was speechless. I was like, and he goes, "Call your wife." And I went, "Oh no," because I just told her the night before I'd been promoted. So he dials her, and I tell her, and I get a few choice words. And I'm like, Bill goes, "What's going on?" I go, "She doesn't believe me." So he took the phone and told her, and then she got excited.
Well, Bill Dancy,
Bill
Dancy, as you know, was one of our managers when I was with the Reading Phillies with Chuck Domino during my early stages of my career. He's such a baseball character, Bill Dancy. I knew that he was the one, but I'd forgotten. It's wonderful to hear his name. Bill Dancy got so mad at me one time, Shaner, that he literally took duct tape and taped me to my chair and put a phone in my hand, so I had to make phone calls and somebody else was dialing the number, and he left me in the chair like this with duct tape for about 6 hours until I finally had to go to the bathroom. So that's my Bill Dancy story. So you got to the big leagues. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You can turn this into a Bill Dancy show real quick because I got a lot of stories.
No question about it. So you get to the big leagues. Shane, how long were you in the big leagues total?
Year and a half with 3 different teams.
And then
maybe a little more. I don't know the exact accumulation, but
post-career, did you always know that after your playing career was over, you wanted to get into coaching and managing, or is that something that just kind of naturally transpired?
Well, everybody told me I should. When I got done playing, I had decided that I'd made I got traded 3 times, signed with another team as a free agent. I felt like I carted my family all over the country, and that, it would be, it was my obligation to be home every night for a change. And so, believe it or not, I was driving for UPS, and I got accepted by the LA Sheriff's Academy after going through all the process of being fingerprinted and interviewed and obstacle courses and all the stuff that goes into that. And hadn't started the academy yet. I come home, and we're in California at this point. I come home, and Beth is writing out my resume and sending it to clubs. She basically said, I would rather see you half the time and you happy than see you all the time and you're miserable. And so that was, I said, you sure? Because you know what the lifestyle's like. And I go, this isn't going to be just about me now. This is going to be about me and organization and whatever 25 guys I'm in charge of. So that's how it got started. And I got several calls, but I felt really comfortable with the Giants because there were several former Joe LaFay and Mike Hart and several former coaches of mine that were in that organization. Brian Sabian, who'd been with the Yankees when I was there. So it just felt like the right fit.
Yeah, it absolutely was the right fit. I almost skipped by a big part, though. You were Michael Jordan's teammate. Go.
Okay.
Or was Michael Jordan – wait, tell the story for everybody about Michael Jordan on the basketball court and then you telling Michael Jordan about the baseball field, because I like that.
So I joined a team on the road someplace in the Southern League, and I walk up to him and I introduce myself. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Shane Turner. And he just kind of smiled, and I said, did I say something wrong? And he just goes, well, most people are a little intimidated to introduce themselves to me. I said, well, Michael,
not Shane Turner.
We're on a baseball field, not a basketball court. This is my court right here. And he just laughed, and he got it, but he was with, we were the same age, and he's basically with a bunch of kids. So I think it was actually nice for him to have somebody other than Terry. Terry Francona was the manager, who was awesome.
Yeah, he's great.
But have somebody else there that was his age he could talk to,
And since the show came on ESPN, the 10-part show about Michael Jordan's life, how many people have brought this up to you and asked you questions? And I know you and I have talked about it in the past. Has that been something that kind of got reignited in your memory bank because of the show?
Well, I went out of my way to watch a show, and I taped the first 6 because I wanted to tape all 10 and just binge, and I couldn't wait, so I started.
I haven't watched the whole thing yet.
And oh my God, I mean, it reminded me of what it was like being around him, because whatever people think, and I know sometimes people who aren't in necessarily competitive business, maybe he came off a little cutthroat, but I'm telling you, man, he just wanted people around him. He wanted to win, number one. He wanted to be the best he could be, and he wanted to make people around him better. And I relate that to AA because it's a different situation, because you're trying to get to the big leagues. You're in the minor leagues. But, man, he was so compassionate and so helpful to every one of those kids on that team. Went out of his way to do things for them so that their ride through this was a little more comfortable. And again, as a 32-year-old, he was probably 8 years older or older than most of those guys on that team. And, he understood he had some life experience and he could give some advice and those types of things. Now, I will say in the course of that, we had a conversation one time. We were sitting in a dugout before batting practice, and the next day was an off day. And he was talking about taking his private jet. First, he said, I just wish I could just be a AA player. And I said, Michael, what are you doing tomorrow? He goes, well, I'm taking my jet and flying to Chicago. I said, why don't you start asking these guys what they're doing? They're pooling their money together to get enough money to barbecue some chicken and have a couple beers. I go, it's just a different experience for you.
Now, we'll move on to something. A last question about Michael Jordan. You were a professional player. You played in the big leagues. If Michael would have stayed, or was his top out, would he have made it to the big league, Shane? Or do you think that he would have been a AA, AAA guy?
I think that if he would have chose baseball as a young man and never stopped playing, he would have been a major league player. I think being away from the game that long and thinking by his age that he was going to have a significant major league career, I just think it was going to be too difficult. There's just too many things. I mean, you do things by his age, you do things that are just muscle memory. You react to things. He was learning what to do, and it was going to take 2 years of repetition for things to be just instinctual to him, like he was on a basketball court. You know, he sees everything on a basketball court. Baseball was a little faster, and he had to stop and look at it instead of just knowing where the ball was going to be, anticipating things, and that just takes time. But I have no doubt if he has stayed with baseball out of high school, yes, he would have been a 10-year major league player. He was that good an athlete.
We're going to wind down the last couple minutes here, Shaner, and we're going to play. I'm going to give you some questions, and I want you to give me quick answers because this will be kind of talk about muscle memory. All right. As a coach, manager, farm director, player development director, you saw X player, and he's going to be a big leaguer. Who is that person?
Buster Posey.
Buster Posey. Player that you saw and you said he's not going to be a player, major league player, and he became a major league player. Who's that person for you? Somebody that developed.
Sergio Romo.
Well, Shane's really good at this. As a player, the person you least liked to face as a hitter. Go.
Rich Savor.
Oh my goodness, he was a crafty lefty. He was a crafty lefty.
Absolutely.
You and I are probably the only two people in America that remember Rich Savor. But he played for the Harrisburg Senators, right? So, yeah, Rich Savor.
Yes, he did.
That's great. As a player, your favorite manager, minor leagues or major leagues?
Ooh. I have a couple, but I think that I would say Buck Showalter. He was just so prepared, especially the second time you played an opponent. You had an advantage because he just remembered everything.
Your favorite teammate of all time? This is the Budweiser hot seat, by the way.
Jeff Tackett.
I love Jeff Tackett, too. All right, final question. Nick, how are we on time? We good? Your final question here on our segment was Shane Turner, presented by Pepsi on Parney's Pitch Around, the first ever guest. I'm going to send you a championship belt for that, Shane. Who's your favorite minor league baseball executive of all time?
Todd Parnell. Not even close.
That was a tough one. Shane,
not even close.
Shane, I love you. You're one of my best friends in the world. Please give Beth a hug and a kiss from all of us. It was great to share some time with you here on Parney's Pitch Around, powered by Dominion Energy. Buddy, I love you. Stay safe, and we'll be talking soon. And, folks, don't go away. Maybe go to the bathroom or go to the fridge and get another Pepsi. But we'll be right back with our second guest on Parney's Pitch Around, presented by Dominion Energy. Are we back? We're back here on Parney's Pitch Around, powered by Dominion Energy. Folks, I am sweating. It is hot in here. Hot. And it's not hot because I'm hot. I'm old. It's hot because our next guest, Ben Rothrock, general manager of the Richmond Flying Squirrels, is on the show here with us next. And Ben's presented by our friends from SciComm. Benjamin, welcome to you're the second guest. Shane O'Turner was the first guest. You're the second guest, but we're glad to have you here today, buddy, and I appreciate you being on the show.
Well, two things. Happy birthday, bud. It's good to see you. And secondly, I can't believe it finally came to fruition that you finally got your show.
I know.
After all these years.
I'm pretty pumped. And I have my Reckless Kelly glass with me, too.
There you go. It's live, and thank goodness it's not like real life behind-the-scenes TV because they don't want to see that.
No, they don't. So, folks, we're going to talk to Ben about several things. This is going to be about a 10-minute segment. And then I want to remind you, please ask your questions by using the YouTube chat, because the final segment is going to be me answering questions from the YouTube chat. So please ask questions so that I have something to answer on my first ever Parney's Pitch Around. Ben Rothrock, without saying exactly what I said, explain the day that we first met for the first time back in 2002. And please do not use it verbatim because I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube on my first show. Go ahead.
Well, we'll lead right into that. And thank goodness, one thing is live, but I don't know if it's censored. So it wouldn't have the beep, 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 beep. So, so first day on the job as an intern way back 2002, we get there to the stadium. First day, got my khakis on, fresh shirt, and they call for a tarp pull.
Yep, because it was coming over the mountain, baby. The rain was coming over the mountain.
Definitely was coming over the mountain. So tarp pull, all hands on deck, get down to the field. We complete the tarp pull, my first one ever. Never really met anybody on staff. And I remember this boisterous voice coming over and say, "Hey, are you an intern up in the ticket office?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Come here." I said, "Man, first day, what did I do? I didn't even do anything. I just tried to follow everybody else." So he goes, "Hey, come here." He says, "You work up in the ticket office?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Do you know Brian?" I said, "I'm assuming that's the guy that works next to me." I said, "Yes." He said, "Why did he come down?" He said, "He didn't need to." He said he didn't need to. Well, that just unleashed a flurry. He said, "You tell that."
Okay. Change the subject.
On. All right. So anyway, it went on for about 3 minutes. And then you said, "And you go tell him that verbatim, do not miss a word." And so I said, "Oh, man.
So,
this is a bad time to mess up."
Folks, that was the start of one of the most special relationships that I have in my life and my family has in their life, and that's with Ben Rothrock. Benny, I'm so proud of you. You were an intern in Altoona, and then really quickly, in like a minute or less, because I want to get to some other stuff, in about a minute or less, tell the viewers the path of your career, because basically we haven't left each other basically in the last 19 years. So talk about where we went and how you grew, and you pretty much worked in every department in minor league baseball. Talk about that for about a minute or so.
Yeah, sure. So, my objective going into this whole relationship was just to gain experience. And, when I got in, I realized I loved it right away. I knew this was something for me. Yeah, the hours were long. The work was hard. But I love that stuff. And, I just wanted to keep on improving year after year. I tried different things. I wanted to get into management. So every opportunity, I just said yes. And I just kept on trying to grow each opportunity, trying to gain experience, because that was the main thing for me. I just wanted to learn as much as I could. I just wanted to absorb it. I think at one point I sat right outside your office as a ticket salesperson, which was in retrospect a mistake. Or some different levels.
Some would call it a growth opportunity, Benjamin. Someone call it a growth opportunity.
Yeah, you're right. It was a growth opportunity.
And hey, y'all think I'm fired up now in Richmond? Tell them, Benny, I was way more off the chain in Altoona, right?
Oh, yeah. It was nuts. And you definitely knew when I was on the phone or when I was on the phone, and you'd be like, "Benny, your phone's not lit up. You're on the phone." And I knew right away, that was something special. But yeah, so, I just wanted to learn as much as I could, and I took every opportunity that I could to grow into a management role. Tried to learn as much as I could, learn from different directors and bosses that I had over the years, and you especially. Like, I learned a lot of things from you, and like I said, all the ones that were above me over the course of the year. We had so many different opportunities with buying a team with State College and Myrtle Beach, and it just opened up just so many different doors and opportunities. I learned so much over the years, and when the opportunity presented itself to come to Richmond, it was literally a no-brainer for me. I knew that this is where I wanted to be, because of the passion that you had for this game and this industry. You weren't going to let this fail, and I knew that from the beginning. And and that was by far the easiest decision of my life. Coming to Richmond was easy. It was a yes right away. As soon as that opportunity presented itself, man, we had some challenges along the way in 2009. I think you mentioned it on one of the shows or one of the Zoom calls earlier today. But it was, the sight on scene was just, it was abysmal when you walked in. But
I remember
we had a crew that turned it around.
I remember telling Chuck Domino when it was just me and him in the concession stand the very first day here, I said, Chucky, you ruined my life. I am now stuck to the concession stand. But we all got it figured out, and we had a great year of doing the impossible, of bringing baseball back. And so many people through your career, including yourself, have gone on to be a general manager, and I'm so proud of you for that. We knew Lou DiBella. Lou was one of our owners in Altoona when you and I were there together. Of course, I knew Chuck Domino and trusted him with all my heart, and that's how we ended up here. It was an easy decision for me too. So let's fast forward to 2019.
Sure.
We got about 5 minutes left. We had the All-Star Week. We had a great success. You were a huge, huge, huge part of that. Fast forward to when you started not feeling great, and talk a little bit about that, and then we'll go through pretty quickly the whole thing so that you can tell your story, because that's what you told me in the hospital.
Yeah, so 2019 was, to me, it felt like any other year. We rolled through it. All-Star year was, very exciting. We just never stopped moving. And I guess when we got to the fall, usually in the fall, we take a break, we take a step back, kind of reflect.
Right.
And years past is a lot different. You could, take a lot of time off, but now we just roll right into the next year. And we got to about the end of September, October, and that's usually when I take a week or so to regroup, just kind of get back mentally, focus on just, being there with the family. That's kind of where I really remember like feeling down and feeling bad. I just wasn't able to bounce back, but I just thought, well, it was a tough year, a lot going on. And maybe that just something to attribute to that. And, I'll rebound, I'll get better. And, about after another month, it just still felt the same, maybe even a little bit worse. Developed a cough in my chest, a cold. And I remember I said, man, I got to get this checked out. Went, several times to different doctors. I was diagnosed from anything from upper respiratory infection to bronchitis to I went to the ear, nose, and throat doctor for acid reflux. It was one thing after another, bronchitis, and then later diagnosed with some sort of pneumonia in late January. But all the while, they kept on giving me medications, antibiotics to kind of alleviate some of that, the pressure on my chest, and it just, things weren't getting better. It just kept on getting worse. And
I remember, Benny, you just didn't feel right? Like you kept saying to me, man, I just don't feel right. I just don't feel right.
Yeah.
And part of your story is to tell people, if you don't feel right, go until you feel right. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And
then we got the phone call. We got the phone call, right?
We got the phone call, and basically said, look, it was the cardiologist, and he said, we need to talk to you and your wife. And I said, okay. And he said, and it's regards to open heart surgery. And I'm like blown away at that point. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I'll never
I'm
forget.
39 years old.
I'll never forget when you told me the first
39
time.
years old.
Yeah.
And it definitely blew me away. But I said, okay, well, what's the risk factor? And he said, in this case, it's really low. It's 1%. We're just going to go in, fix an aortic valve. That's kind of what's causing the problem, causing the backup into your lungs. You have a lot of fluid built up around your chest, into your face. So we'll go in there and fix that. It's very quote unquote routine operation. I want you to meet with a surgeon on Monday. It just seemed like from then on, everything just kind of like fell into place. He said, I know this local surgeon. He's great. He's one of the best. You can certainly pick whatever surgeon you want, but this guy, he's really on top of his game. And I said, sure, we'll keep it local. Let's go meet him. And I remember a phone call that was set up with them on a Monday, and they basically led me into that. He said, this guy, he may have surgery over the weekend. Now, if it's an emergency over the weekend with some other patient, he may have to get to you on a Wednesday. And we'll let you know on Monday whether you'll get to meet with him on Monday afternoon or if you have to wait till Wednesday. And they called me on Wednesday, and they said, look, exactly what we thought would happen. He had an emergency surgery. He's going to be running a little bit late. I said, that's fine. We can wait till Wednesday. He said, no, we need to make time for you today. And that's kind of when I really thought it was a little bit worse than what they were expecting. And I said, okay, well, I have a staff meeting at 4. And they were like, we have a staff meeting at 4 from 2 to 5. And he wants to cut his staff meeting off at 4:00 to meet with you. And you need to be here at 4:00. And I was like, all right, something's really wrong now. And if they're cutting a staff meeting short to meet with me, then it's a little bit worse than what they expected. So we went in, and he met with us, very thorough, Dr. Hahn with Henrico Doctors, and went through step by step. I mean, probably the most thorough surgeon I've ever met. And he laid it all out for us. He said, usually it's very routine, but went through the whole situation. He said, however, you've been on medication and antibiotics for so long now, we need to wait for it to leave your body. And we need you to get lab work done every Monday until we decide where it's safe enough to do that. So I said, okay. And they said, we're going to lead off with a CAT scan this Thursday. And here's the location, blah, blah.
And that was the week of our hot stove banquet. For any of you that are watching the hot stove, and Benny and I went out with Brian Jordan afterwards, and I remember looking at him. I'm like, Benny, are you okay? And you said no. You said no.
Yeah. And
but Benny, we got about 3 minutes left. So just
Yep.
It's live television, live TV.
Yeah, that was last night before this test, and they ran the test. They tried to run the test. It came back as a failure. They weren't able to get the results that they were looking for to even tell what was wrong. So they asked me to come back the next day. And I remember walking up to that office, the doctor's office. I literally had to walk 5 steps and stop. 5 steps and stop. I was that out of breath. I was that fatigued. I was that in that worse of shape. It was that bad. So they were able to run the test that Friday. And, we went along our business that day. I went back to work. I met my wife and kids out to eat that night. And it was probably about 5:30, maybe 5:45. And right when they brought out my kids' food to the table, my phone just lit up. It was like one after another, one right after another. Kept on getting phone calls. I said, man, I got to take this. So I took the phone call, and they said,
it wasn't me. It wasn't me, and it wasn't Lou.
Yeah, I thought that for sure that's what it was. And I answered the phone call, and they said, Ben, look, we need you to come to Henrico Doctors right away. We're going to slow play this weekend. Dr. Hahn, he's away for the weekend, but he wants to have his number 1 crew there Monday morning for this surgery. And they expect the surgery to be about 3 to 6 hours, but your body and your organs are failing you. And if you don't come in, there's a good chance you don't make it through the night or even the weekend if you're lucky to make it through the night. So we basically, left the restaurant, packed the kids up.
Which was
my wife, I said,
Bomb
Yeah.
dropped.
Yeah. Yeah. Told the wife and kids, told her to take the kids home, meet me at the hospital. I'm going to drive myself there. When I got to the hospital, they were basically waiting for me in the emergency room. They had everything ready for me, and they started on tests right away. I called my parents on the way there, told them what was going on. They left within the minute to get down there, and basically spent Super Bowl weekend in the hospital prepping for this surgery. That I don't remember that weekend much at all. I don't remember who played in the Super Bowl. I don't remember who won. But it was
Actually, neither do
a
I.
weird weekend.
I
Yeah.
remember being stressed out. So this is
Yeah.
like live television, and our buddy Nick Elder is going like this, but you haven't gotten to the big part of the story yet. So Nick, this is my first show, and I'm telling you that we're going to go overtime for a few minutes because Benny hasn't even got
Yeah.
to the big thing. So
Yeah.
we get to the
Yeah.
hospital on Monday morning. You're going into surgery. The last thing that you said when you were going down through in the hallway was,
Well, apparently I had one of my legs hanging outside the bed. And they said, "Sir, can you please put your leg inside the bed?" And I said, "Please keep all hands and legs or feet inside the ride at all times."
and no
And,
flash photography.
and I kind of set them all in like a little giggle as we went into the room for emergency surgery. So
The
surgery lasted 12 hours.
I was going to say, the surgery is supposed to last 3 to 6. It lasted what?
12 hours, and it was a marathon. It was a marathon for everybody involved, my family, my friends, the ones that supported me were there basically the whole day. And the support that I received was truly amazing. I had a very long stint in the hospital, obviously 5 weeks, went in for another surgery about 2 weeks after. But I just kept on pushing through. I kept on setting goals for myself. I didn't want to stay in there. I had bigger and better things, and I know that, quite honestly, I'm here for a reason. I should have died at any moment leading up to that surgery. I'm not really sure the exact instant that happened, but I could have died at any second. I say any second of any minute, of any hour, of any day leading up to it. And, it gives me a lot more perspective on the little things in life. It gives me a lot more perspective on the bigger things in life. But I'm glad to be here. I know that there's more things in store for me, better things. And my main message through all of this, and this is what I want to say through this story, is that don't stop. Your body, how your body reacts to different things. Don't stop until you get the answers. Keep plugging through. If you go to the doctors and you don't get the right answers, there's always a second opinion, a third opinion. But quite honestly, at the end of the day,
in your case, it was like 6, right? Wasn't it like 6?
It was total of 8.
Yeah.
Total of 8. I went to, like I said, ear, nose, and throat, doctors, allergists, whatever it took, dentist. I went to 2 different dentists. But life is precious. We were given one life, and if we don't take care of ourselves and we don't realize when something's wrong, it'll pass you by. Literally will pass you by. And I've been blessed and fortunate to still be here. I shouldn't be here. But if I can help that one person through this message, figure out that they got to keep on pushing through it, keep on finding the answers that they're looking for, and just be comfortable with that, and find the answers and find the right medications, and if it leads to surgery, it leads to surgery. There's a lot of great doctors, there's a lot of great surgeons out there. I'd hate for somebody to take a back seat and let life pass you by because you're too afraid to figure out what's wrong with your body.
Well, Benny, when you woke up from your first surgery, and I was in talking to you. We're running out of time. When I was in talking to you in the first one, live TV, Nick, live TV. We're almost done here, though, Nick. Relax. And I couldn't hear your voice because you'd had the tubes in your throat, and you said 2 things to me. You whispered in my ear, "I want to tell my story," and I promised you that we would make sure that you had the platform through the Flying Squirrels to tell your story. And then tell everybody what the second thing you told me that you saw outside your window.
Yeah. So obviously when you're in a surgery that deep and when you're that far into it, they give you a lot of great meds to help soothe the body, I guess. And, when I was, we'll just say I was under, I claimed to have seen Sasquatch walking outside my window. And I said,
and I'm your witness because he said it to me.
Yeah. Well, apparently I've said it 3 different times throughout the course of my hospital stay. Yeah. So, I definitely thought that I saw Sasquatch on different occasions. I think I said it once to my brother, once to my family, once to you. But I was almost certain that I saw Sasquatch walking outside the window.
Well, Benjamin,
for whatever.
We appreciate you being on with us tonight. It means a lot to me. I mean, I love you like a brother. You're family. You're Madeline. Absolutely. And the kids are family to me very much. As I said to you in the hospital, you're here because God knows that he's not done with you yet. And I, for one, am excited in Richmond, Virginia to have a front row seat to see how God is going to use you over the next however many years. So we're lucky to have you here. We're fortunate to have you here. We're grateful to have you here. And thanks for being with us, buddy. We love you. We love your family. And have fun and go nuts, Benny.
Thanks, Parn. Enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, a reminder to give us your questions, YouTube chat with Anthony Opperman. That'll be our final segment. Folks, I have went way overboard, and Nick's going to really be mad at me after the show. We'll be right back after this.
Founded in 1996, SciComm is an award-winning IT systems integrator headquartered in Richmond with offices throughout Virginia. Their focus is on mid-Atlantic companies, healthcare organizations, educational institutions, and governments looking to improve their technology return on investment. SciComm is a trusted partner to deliver a range of IT solutions and services that keep companies connected. Named as one of the top workplaces in Richmond, SciComm is also the employer of choice for the best talent in the region and are committed to providing outstanding and memorable service.
And powered by Dominion Energy. We want to thank our first 2 guests in the history of this show. It might only be one show. Nick's pretty mad at me for going overboard and overtime. We want to thank Shane Turner, who was brought to us by our great friends at Pepsi. And we want to thank General Manager of the Flying Squirrels, Ben Rothrock, with his amazing, miraculous story of his health scare and his health situation this past January, February, March. And he was presented by SciComm. Oppo, what we got over there, buddy? We're winding this puppy down.
Hey, we got a few questions for you, big guy, that came through the YouTube chat. Thanks for submitting those questions. Those who did. First one coming from Dylan Cooper. And Dylan wants to know what events there might be at the Diamond this summer if, by some chance, we're not able to play baseball.
Well, Dylan, we have been working very, very hard, as you can tell from the sweat on my brow. We've been working very, very hard to come up with a bunch of things. We've had Funville Foodie Friday, where people can order food ahead of time and pick that up curbside. Josh Bourbon and our staff does a great job. Father's Day, we had a pre-ordered, kind of like a tea time situation going on for Catch on the Field. We were going to do 6 different time slots. Those sold out. We added 4 more time slots, and those have sold out. We're going to be waiting on different phases and the different stages that the governor does, we'll be announcing a lot of different things. Hopefully, we can still play baseball, but if we don't, rest assured the Flying Squirrels are not going to roll up the sidewalks. We're committed to being an active member of this community 12 months a year, 24/7, 365. Oppo!
Not so much a question, big guy, but a comment from Baseball Demos. They said that anything with you in it is a good thing. And also commented that you're the best dresser in the Eastern League, which I guess begs the question, are you wearing those Parney pants today, even though we haven't been able to see them yet?
Yes, I am. Nick, we're going to work on the set the next time, but these are what I'm wearing my cassette tapes tonight. These are some of my favorite because, well, they just feel good, Anthony, and I needed to feel good today.
Hey, I actually got a question for you. You mentioned Father's Day and our catch on the field coming up on Father's Day. If you could have a catch with one living person, who would that be, big guy?
Wow, that is an amazing, amazing question. I grew up having a lot of catches with my father in the backyard. We were actually talking with Shane Turner. Probably about 10 people that I could answer this question, but I think it'd be pretty cool to have a catch with Michael Jordan. And one of the things I've been doing during the quarantine is having catches with different friends of mine in the outfield. Sean Stifler, the head baseball coach at VCU, yeah, his hand still hurts because I brought the gas. I sure did. I brought the cheddar. Anthony?
I like that Michael Jordan response, big guy. You and I have talked offline that you enjoy a lot of things, but a pandemic isn't one of those things that you enjoy. But you did mention there are some good things that have come out of this pandemic, including being able to go out and have catch on the field with Stiff. What's another good thing that has actually come out of this pandemic for you? We like to be positive here on Parney's Pitch Around.
Well, 3 things I'll mention. Number 1, exercise. As you know, I fluctuate with my weight sometimes, especially during the summer. I don't always take the time to exercise during the course of a busy game day. This has forced me to do that, so I'm actually feeling good. Watching, honestly, what Benny went through really made me want to make sure that I was taking better care of myself. So that's number 1. Number 2, having dinners at home. I have never had so many dinners at home cumulatively, and Tanya is a great cook, so having one-on-one dinners with Tanya has been amazing. Then the third thing is perspective. If I can get deep on you for a second, Oppo, perspective. I promise our fans, you will never see me be pouty about a rain delay ever again. You'll never see me throw my phone on the tarp because there's a rain delay. I'm never going to take anything that happens out on this field for granted ever again. And perspective being that there's a lot of things that are going on in the world due to the pandemic that we just need to help, and we need to love each other, and we need to make sure that we can all get through this thing together. And I'm very grateful for the perspective that I've learned, and I've got a great life here in Richmond, and perspective has been really good for me because, as you know, Anthony, I tended to go a little overboard about things that happen with the squirrels, so I won't be doing that anymore.
I got one more question for you, big guy, through our YouTube chat. But before we get to that, I need to point out that June 16th isn't a special date just because it's the day that you actually got your live show. I guess we can kind of count it as a birthday present because it is your birthday, big guy. So we need to play a little happy birthday for you. We will do that. And somebody that you might know, her name is Lindsay Parnell, wanted to know, what's your favorite birthday memory?
Oh my goodness. Any birthday that has had anything to do with Lindsay and Sammy and now Tanya and Madison is a great birthday. And I think Lindsay's actually waiting for this show to be over so that we can spend a little time together. It's all about the kids and all about family. We've had some great times, but when Parnell Beach Week is at the beach in Sandbridge on my birthday, watch out, Islander. It's going to be a long, wild night because the Parneys are going to be in the house.
I could think of no better way to wrap up our first Q&A segment than on that one, big guy. So glad that we had the chance to hang out with you on your birthday and do this. Thanks for taking some time on your birthday to hang out with us.
All right. Thank you, Anthony, and we appreciate you very much. And thanks to everybody behind the scenes of our first ever show. Hopefully it's not going to be our last ever show. And, of course, we want to thank everyone at Dominion Energy for powering Parney's Pitch Around. See you next time, everybody.